Hey everybody, Ulancey Peterson here. It is 12:30 in the afternoon, 12:30 p.m. It is Tuesday, January 30th, 2018. I have got to remember to say 2018 because on my last video I said 2017. It's 30 days into the new year and I still can't get it right. Man. All right. So, there was a one of my subscribers is very happy about the stories, and usually you know how it is. You drive and you forget about the things that happen in the car, especially when so many things happen over and over and over again, because at a basic level most of us are the same. We do dumb stuff. Well, this is a story I should not have forgotten about, but I clearly remember this one now. Here's the key. In order for me to tell a story the right way, I have to remember all the details exactly as it came about. If I can't remember all the details the right way, I really try not to tell the story. Like, for example, there was a story. I had a family in the car. There was the father in the front seat, the mother in the back passenger seat right here in the throne, and the little girl, she was no older than 8, and she was sitting behind me. And the mother and daughter were having this conversation that had my mouth wide open the whole time, bigger than you see it on my, you know how when you see the still photos and my mouth is wide open? My mouth was like that the whole time with this chick in the car, because I'm thinking, okay, some of the things that this little girl was saying to her mother, see, the father, he was like, oh, you have to talk to your mom about that. Oh, your mother handles that. I mean, he was really just upfront, completely and totally out of the loop. He was just enjoying the ride, drinking the water. But the mother and the daughter were having a rather civilized conversation, but the girl seemed like she was the one running the whole thing. And so she said something back to her mom in such a way, I'm like, I need you to, I'm going to paint the picture for you. And those of you know, I'm a baby from the 70s, all right? And my mother was a single mom. It was me, my sister, and my mother. I love my mom. My mom did an exceptional job of raising me and my sister by herself in a fantastic home. However, if you know that's a song from Aretha Franklin, "Woman to Woman," I think that's the name of it. And you know the voice that that Aretha had in that song, where she was talking to the lady about she pays the note and all like that. Okay, I want you to use that voice. Use that voice, because some of the things that this girl said to her mom, my mother would have been, if we go from 1974 or 1978 to 2018, the mother would have said in the Aretha voice, Mr. Uber driver, I need you to pull the car over, please. If you want to wait, it's okay, but I need to talk to my daughter real quick. And so I would have pulled the car over and waited, and my mother would have done what parents in the 1970s would have done to this child, the way she spoke to her. That's the best way I could relay this story to you, because I'm like, I cannot believe that girl said that to her mother, and her mother let her get away with it. Now, maybe they were civilized about it during the event, and then when they got home, she took care of business. But then maybe not. You never know. All right, so I'll tell you one story that did happen in the car, and I can tell you this accurately. And I remember this because I lost $1,000 from this guy. I was so upset about it that I actually went to a wine store and I had them show me a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne. Dom Perignon, if I'm not mistaken, is the bottle they showed me, they wanted $525 for the bottle. And so I wanted to look at this bottle of champagne because I lost 2 bottles of champagne to a fair to a guy that scammed me. So this is what ended up happening. There was this guy. He was a young guy. He was like maybe 22, 23 years old. And he looked like that guy who played Peter Pan in the TV show Once Upon a Time. I love that show, by the way. It's an awesome show. I love what the producers and everybody's doing with it. Anyway, he looked like that guy, but it wasn't him. So I had picked him up from the opening of the Dream Hotel in Hollywood. And it was him and 3 other guys in the car. So my customer was in the back seat. There was a guy up front, and then there were 2 other people in the car. And all of a sudden, the car starts, rumbling. I'm like, what's going on? So I'm looking in the back, and then one of the guys says, "Stop touching me." And I'm like, uh-oh, this is about to get really fascinating in a second. Now, mind you, I'm just driving the car. I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm driving the car. Next thing I know, blam, guy gets hit in the head on the left side. He says, "Dude, I told you to stop touching me." The guy touches him again. And next thing I know, this guy is literally out of his seat belt on top of the other guy, half trying to knock him through the seat. I mean, when I say through the seat, I mean through the seat into the trunk, okay? Now, by this time, we are where we need to be. We're at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. The Beverly Wilshire Hotel in the heart of Beverly Hills. And so they get out the car. I'm thinking everything is cool. And I drive off. I try to drive off because the next thing I know, these guys are in the back of my car going full MMA on each other in the driveway at the Beverly Hills Hotel, at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. I couldn't believe it. It was so bad. One of the guys put a really bad scratch on the trunk of my car. I was pissed off because I'm like, okay, now I got a scratch I can't get rid of. That scratch is still there in the trunk. I remember this story all the time. Eventually, they stepped away from the car. I took off. I had another customer, another ride request, because now I turned back on Uber because he was a private client, and now I'm back on Uber. I come back to and ironically, I have to go back to the Beverly Wilshire Hotel to drop off the people who made the ride request because they were moving from one hotel to another. And next thing I know, I drive up and I see an ambulance, 2 police cars, and dude who was in the fight sitting on the step with a broken, bloody nose. I'm like, y'all had to call the cops on him? And my client said, yeah, I had to call the cops. You know, it got that bad, and so the management of the hotel called the cops. And so I'm like, wow, this is unbelievable. I mean, ordinary kids with money, mind you, fighting in Beverly Hills. So, you know, I think nothing of it or what have you. But what gets me is this. The next day, my customer, I sent a message to the customer because he didn't pay the invoice. I'm like, dude, what's up? What's going on? You didn't pay the invoice. What's happening? And he says, oh, you know, after all the events of Beverly Hills that night, I had to immediately get on a flight, and I'm in New York now. Okay, great, no problem. Well, could you at least pay my invoice so I can have my money for the service I gave you? I'm still waiting on him to pay that invoice. Actually, I'd say that, you know, for dramatic purposes. He didn't pay me. I had to let that go because, you know, I'm like, hey, he scammed me when it comes down to it. He totally and completely scammed me. And the sad thing is I let him scam me. So it was a big learning lesson. But I tell you, that was something else, to see Beverly Hills kids beating up each other in the back of a car, and then at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. I keep confusing the Beverly Wilshire Hotel with the Beverly Hills Hotel. They're totally different hotels. But this is the Beverly Wilshire Hotel on Wilshire Boulevard, between Rodeo and El Camino. All right, so there's another story for you, and I'm kind of like on a story binge right now. But I really, I gave up this. I did this channel because I wanted to give helpful information. I didn't want to be Storytime guy. But hey, y'all want stories. If you don't want stories, tell me you don't want stories. I'll give helpful information. But if you want stories, believe me, I got stories. I can tell them too. Alrighty, y'all have a good one. Take care.